UK kids in the 90s had Cadbury's. US kids had Reese's. Today we're comparing the biggest 90s chocolate bars from both sides of the pond to answer that age-old question, who had the better childhood? Without further ado, let's go to matchup number one. So representing the UK, it's a big one, it's Kinder Bueno. Americans might be familiar with this because this was recently, in the past few years, this was introduced into the US market. It's been in the UK for a whole lot longer, and to be fair, it is a good one. Going up against the Bueno from the US will be... It's Hershey's Kisses. I have to admit, despite it being what seems like the biggest export from the US, or at least the most popular domestically, I have never tried Hershey's Kisses. I've tried Hershey's chocolate, and yeah, less to be said about that, the better. But Hershey's Kisses, maybe they're a little bit of a different vibe, I don't know. From the US, a site that'll be familiar with a lot of American kids out there, Hershey's Kisses. Like I said, I've never tried them before. I'm from the UK. It might be a bit of a stretch to call it UK because Kinder Bueno, it's not strictly ours. It's an import that we've grown to love. Kinder being, of course, a German chocolate, I think. Kinder's a German word, right? So, okay, yeah. Let's just check that. So Kinder, I had previously thought that Kinder was German, but it is actually it's an Italian chocolate. In the UK corner, we've got Kinder Bueno from Italy. In the US corner, we've got Hershey's Kisses. I'm going to try this one first because I know what it tastes like, and it is good. It's broke, so we can see inside it.
A few inches later.
So you get 2 bars of these four little humps of chocolate, and it's got some sort of, I don't even know what it's hazelnut, right? Hazelnut cream inside it. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm going to eat 9 other chocolate bars, I could nail this whole thing right now. So good. And now, from the US, Hershey's Kisses. I'm not quite sure how many you get in it. It seems like you get a few for a tiny little packet like that. Oh, it's a tabby job.
Oh, idiot!
They are very cute. I mean, they look like tiny bombs or something. I don't know if that's what they're supposed to look like, but oh, and they've got this cute little, piece of paper hanging out of the top. The little fuse, to blow up the flavour into your mouth. I don't know. It's a very weird construction. Foil, and then yeah, this weird little. I've probably opened it wrong. I don't really know what purpose the little piece of paper serves, but anyway. Okay, so my first ever Hershey's Kiss. I don't know what to expect. I think it's just chocolate. As far as I'm aware, it's just chocolate in a blob. But let's go. So, as with all American chocolate, it's supposed to be milk chocolate, but there is a slight bitterness there. For me, if you're from the UK and you've never tried a Hershey's Kiss before, the one thing I can compare it to, and I'm not quite sure this is a compliment, is Advent Calendar chocolate, which is not notorious for being the most high quality and tasty of chocolate, but yeah, to me, with a slight creamy twist, it's a tiny bit more creamy, but it is very similar to what you would get in an Advent Calendar. I'm not really a fan of the shape. The shape in the mouth, like to put something in the mouth that's basically a spike. It's not. I don't know. It's not the type of shape that I want to be eating. You put it in your mouth and it immediately spikes up into the roof of your mouth. I'm already fearing for the US because I know that the Hershey's Kiss is an iconic piece of chocolate and it's beloved by millions in the States. I don't hold up that much hope for the rest of its chances. It could be a 5-0 whitewash to the UK here. Number one, head to head, it's going to the Kinder Bueno all day long. If you're from the US and you've recently tried the Kinder Bueno, or the past few years you've got your hands on the Kinder Bueno, let me know how it compares to the Hershey's Kiss, or Hershey's Kisses, I don't know. Is there single kiss called kiss? Is a single kisses called a kiss? You'd assume so, wouldn't you? Okay, on to the second head-to-head. So, representing the UK in head-to-head number 2 is... So from the UK, it is the Humble Yorkie. It's not for girls. If you don't understand the reference of that, you're obviously not from the UK, because throughout the 90s, early 2000s, one of the main marketing campaigns for the Yorkie chocolate bar was that it was not for girls. It even had, I think the O in Yorkie had a little circle, like a stop sign with a silhouette of a woman in it. And that was part of the advertising campaign, that it was a man's chocolate bar. This might have been a better comparator to the Hershey's Kiss, to be fair, because this is just solid Nestle chocolate. Up against the Yorkie from the US is going to be... It is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. If you watch the Easter video that I did, where I ate a Reese's Peanut Butter Egg, you'll probably know what my feeling is on Reese's. Yeah, again, I do fear for the US on this one, because I don't know how much of a chance they've got. The thing is, this has obviously got more flavour, so it should win. So up first, it is the Yorkie. This is a duo, so it's like two smaller bars in one, and that's basically all it is just massive chunks of chocolate. It's just solid in more ways than one. Just a solid, massive chunk of chocolate. Shout out to, they do a biscuit and raisin version, and they brought out other versions recently. The biscuit and raisin is elite. But yeah, you can't beat the OG. Next up, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. An icon of America that I'm probably about to absolutely destroy. And not in a good way. But yeah, an American icon. I've said it before, peanut butter in the UK, it's just not, it's not what it is in America. The one thing I will say about these, they are cute, look at that. Comes in its own little wrapper. Obviously, the Americans love wrappers, and this has got the outside packaging, then it's got a little cardboard tray, and then it's got this little paper thingamajig that's got the cup in it. I might just one bomb this. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. In fact, well, I'll bite it first so you can see the inside. You know what? I don't hate it. I think my biggest gripe with Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is the texture of the inside. Like, I think it could be better. It feels very grainy. I feel like it could be a bit smoother. And maybe I'm just not generally not a peanut fan. Whereas in the States, it's like all you've got is peanuts and grapes, because that's all of your treats seem to be based around those two things. You know what? I'm going to be kind, and I'm going to give it to the Peanut Butter Cup. There is more flavour. If this was a biscuit and raisin Yorkie, it would get absolutely blown out of the water, but it is just essentially just a big chunk of chocolate. It's not that particularly nice to eat, because they are quite big and chunky and hard. Whereas this has got better flavour. It looks better. Yeah, I'm just gonna say that the texture it's not quite for me, but I'm gonna give it the win over the Yorkie on this occasion. The US has tied the series. It's 1-1. So next head-to-head from the UK is gonna be... It's Milky Way Magic Stars. Now these are so 90s, because these were released in the 90s. There is a Milky Way in the US, right? But it's essentially what our Mars bar is. Our Milky Way is essentially just nougat covered in chocolate, whereas in the US, US Milky Way is like nougat, caramel, chocolate around it, which is essentially what our Mars bar is. So according to Lab Bible, the reason why in the US it's called a Milky Way and in the UK it's called Mars bar is that the Mars company in the UK was founded by the son of the Mars company founder in the US. So some guy called Mars created the chocolate company in the US, created the Milky Way, nougat caramel chocolate. His son wanted to expand, came to the UK, started his own company called Mars, and basically copied that basis and created the Mars bar. And then eventually, after the father died, the son took over the US side of the business and merged two companies. And now there you have it. You've got a Mars bar on one side of the pond, a Milky Way on the other. It does seem like something at some point that they would change. However, I imagine they probably wouldn't change the US market because it's bigger. So they wouldn't change the Milky Way to a Mars. You couldn't easily change the Mars bar from the UK into a Milky Way because we already have Milky Way products. So they would then have to change this as well to something. So representing the US up against Magic Stars is going to be... It's another Reese's product. Yay. Yo. Ah. Okay. Like Cadbury's, what Reese's like to do is obviously have a diversification of products, but only with one single flavour. And here it is. Reese's Sticks. Looking at it, it appears to be like a peanut butter version of what UK market would recognise as a timeout. It is what it is. I know that it's just going to taste like peanut butter. That's the problem. It's a different texture. It's a slightly different packaging and everything. It looks a little bit different. But underneath it all, it's going to be peanut butter flavoured. Let's try what I know I'm going to love first. You've never seen Magic Stars before. So they're like little chocolate buttons, but they've got a little face on them. Really milky. Okay, I could demolish this whole bag. It's just milk chocolate, obviously, but it does have a little bit of that Milky Way taste, like a little bit of the sort of nougat taste to it. Definitely a nostalgic trip down memory lane. Milky Way. It's the 90s all over. Let's try what I'm so looking forward to. A Reese's Stick.
The suspense is terrible.
He's going to go this time.
I hope it'll last.
These were released in 1998, so both products deep in the 90s. 90s release date. This is what the Reese's Stick looks like. Not like a consistent covering of chocolate, holes all over the place. Look at that. Like, I don't know what factory made this, but must do better. Now, they've done something there. They've done a thing. I didn't think I was going to like it because typically with peanut butter product, it's just completely overpowered by the peanut butter. But it's quite nicely balanced, to be fair. Good flavour, good texture. There's not too much peanut butter because it's just in those like thin layers. You can see on the packaging here, there's just like a couple of thin layers in there, but then there's wafer and chocolate around it. Oh, it's just tough. I never thought I'd do this because I don't like peanut butter. But how can I say I don't like peanut butter and then give two peanut butter products a win in a row? They've been lucky in that they've come up against some products that are basically just solid chocolate. I'm gonna give it to the Reese's Sticks. I'm gonna do something I never thought I was gonna do. I swear if the next one is another Reese's product though, I'm gonna go mental. Yeah, 2-1 to the US. Who would have thought it? I thought the US might win some rounds. However, I didn't think it would win on peanut butter with me. Representing the UK in round 4 is gonna be good luck, America. It is a double-decker, Cadbury's double-decker. One of the few products that isn't just solid chocolate that Cadbury's do. It's got nougat in there. It's got like a caramel, some crispy bits. See who we're going up against from the US corner. From the US, hate to say it's over before it's over, but it's Almond Joy. A big part of UK law is our hatred for the Bounty. I mean, I don't hate it. I could eat it. But if I buy a tub of Celebrations, which, if you're not familiar with Celebrations in the US, basically just a big box of chocolates that's got a little version of all the classics, so like Galaxy, Malteser, and there is a Bounty in there. And the Bounty is basically just a bar of chocolate-covered coconut. Yeah, Almond Joy, which looks like coconut, almond, I think that might be it, just covered in chocolate. I thought it had some caramel in there at first, which might actually lift it up a bit. To be fair, it's strange as well, because it just looks like it's just a giant almond on the top. So they're going to look like little breasts. They're going to look like a little mound with a little nipple on the top. Yeah, so this is a bag of like snack-sized, fun-sized ones, going up against the double-decker. Who's going to win? I'll try the double-decker first. That's what she looks like. Just a solid hunk of chocolate. I'm just a big fan of anything that's got like a crispy a little bit of, well, cereal in this case. Crisp, crunchy cereal, chewy nougat. There's a little bit of caramel mixed in there. Great all-round chocolate. Great chocolate on the top. Let's see what chance Almond Joy stands against this. So they're in these cute little They're in these cute little packages. It doesn't look great. Oop. There's the little nipple on top.
Whip it out! Whip it out!
Yeah, I'll bite right through the middle so I can go through the nut and get the full experience. This is weird because I expected the coconut to be exactly like a Bounty. It's more gluey. It seems even more processed than a Bounty. It definitely doesn't look like the picture. That's what it's supposed to look like inside. This is what it actually looks like. Pretty sad and depressing. It's not terrible. It's definitely Bounty vibes. The almond doesn't add a whole amount. I do like almonds as well, or at least almond flavour. And I just feel like the almond in that doesn't add a great deal. It may not come as a surprise on this occasion, but I am going to go with my friend the Double Decker. Oop. It has to go to Double Decker. It's so much better. Almond Joy, okay. I can imagine it being one of those things that is memeable, like the Bounty is in the UK, that people like either love or hate, and most people hate. That does even the scores up at 2-2. So the last round will be the decider. From the UK, it is gonna be the Cadbury's Crunchy. I'll let you in on a little secret. This was one of my favourite chocolate bars when I was a kid, and I don't have it as often anymore, but yeah, it was top tier for me. I loved it. It's basically just honeycomb in chocolate, but the honeycomb is really nice. I don't know if there's a version of this in the US. Please, if you're American, let me know in the comments if there is a US version. I think there's at least an Australian version, which has got a weird name. What's the Australian version called? There's a version in Australia called Violet Crumble. It doesn't sound like a chocolate bar, but it's basically the same thing. But yeah, if you're in America, is there anything like this in the US market? Basically honeycomb in chocolate? Let me know. Now, on to the US offering. I've not tried any of the 4 remaining items. Let's find out. So it is the Butterfinger bar. I have no idea what... I've tried not to find out what these bars are actually like, so I don't know. I'm seeing peanuts. What is your obsession with peanuts? My God. Crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery. Is it made by... Is it made by Reese's, low-key? Let's find out. Ferrero Group, so the same people that make Kinder stuff. So... This was introduced in 1923, apparently. The name of it was chosen through a public contest. Bring back those days. Advertised by The Simpsons in the 90s. So for the final, it's the Crunchy against the Butterfinger. I don't hold out much hope for the Butterfinger. I will be honest. But I did say that before about the Reese's bars, and they did win. So they weren't up against the Crunchy, though, I'm afraid. As always, I'll try the UK bar first. This is what she looks like. So good. So good. So simple. It's just honeycomb wrapped in chocolate, but it's like the honeycomb is. It's like nice and airy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much hope I've got for this Butterfinger. Weird sort of flat, rounded texture. I've not read exactly what it is, what the consistency is inside. Obviously, just that it's nuts and caramel and stuff. So I'm going into this with an open mind. Oh. I did not expect that. In many ways, if you've tried a Crunchy, it's not a bad comparison, to be fair. The texture is very, very similar. It's a bit like a honeycomb texture. I was expecting it to be like a chewy, it doesn't say caramel on it, does it? No, crispity, crunchy. Maybe I should have expected it. It's quite nice, actually. I was expecting it to be one of those chewy sort of caramel bars and like big pieces of nuts. Yeah, it's decent. I rate it. It's given me more of a decision than I thought it was going to. I'm going to have another little bit of try. I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it, to be honest, because I'm giving this win to the Crunchy, which does mean that's 3-2 to the UK. This is nostalgia for me. This is one of my childhood favourites. Absolutely love this. I'm going to give the Butterfinger an honourable mention, though. Surprised me. I'd probably have that again. You're fighting an uphill battle trying to compete with my very own childhood and my very own nostalgic feelings around chocolate bars, because this hits it for me. Yes, we did have some left over on the wheels. We will come back and do a part 2 with 5 more chocolate bars to see if the US can retake the crown, because I know there was some really good heavy hitters on the US roster still. I'm going to add to it with a few more. I'm going to add to the UK version, And we're going to come back and do a part 2 to see if the US can regain its pride and take it 1-1 in the series. At the moment, the UK is officially, according to me, officially the provider of the best chocolate throughout the 90s, throughout my childhood. Keep a lookout for the follow-up video. I don't know when it'll come. It might be weeks, it might be months, who knows. But keep a lookout for that. We'll do a part 2. Until next time, keep borrowing those fingers.
That's what she said.
I'm disappointed in myself. And remember, always live in the past.